We're back in the pink chair with the pink throw. I feel like we've not had enough pink this month. Oh my god, I just also realized I have like pink nails also. I'm really sad. The vibe is pink. Yeah. I am Styleboy and welcome to my world. And honestly, I have honestly loved making Pride videos for this entire month. Pride month this month has just creatively wise, I have just loved it. I've been making ranking videos, I've given you some outfits, I've given you my opinions, and honestly, like every video I've made this month, I have just been so proud of, and so it made my heart really warm to see how happy and excited I am to make these kind of videos, because honestly it's been fun and it's been something that I not only am extremely passionate in because I am part of the community, I'm a gay man, haha, but also it's just something that makes me smile. And I think to know that not only I'm enjoying the videos, but you guys are enjoying the videos, just it makes me feel so good, especially because I had that like 2-week break, and now being back and just like back onto it and you guys are enjoying it and I'm enjoying it, it makes me smile. So honestly, thank you guys so much for the love and support and all that stuff. It means the world. If you are a subscriber, you know you are that bitch. If you're not, you might as well become that bitch today and subscribe. Today's video, we are talking about being autistic and gay again. Now, I've actually done 2 videos on this, but someone suggested to actually make a whole video on it, and I was like, I've already done it, but I could do a part 2. And then guess what? Y'all wanted to see a part 2, so we're doing it again. I'm literally just gonna be talking about my own personal experience as being a gay autistic man. And honestly, grab your drinks and honestly enjoy yourselves and let us begin. Let me actually give you some context, because I feel like this would really change the scope of autistic representation. So, in a survey in 2018, up to 70% of autistic participants reported being non-heterosexual compared to 30% of neurotypicals. That's such a big difference. That's huge. And autistics are 6 times more likely to express gender variance. So basically, it means that a lot of us are actually part of the community, which is ironic because so many of us feel like because we are part of the LGBTQ community, we end up feeling like seen as less autistic, which is so stupid, especially after this survey. Isn't that such an interesting statistic? And again, like, I think it's so cool because it kind of shows a lot more of us than you think. Right? Let me discuss what it's like being kind of both from my perspective. Firstly, I feel like as a gay autistic man, I have to learn about myself like so much and to so much of a degree compared to neurotypicals, or maybe even compared to other heterosexual people or even other queer people, because not only do I have to learn and have to relearn about what I need, and I felt like especially in 2020, the mess that it was, I had to understand what leads me to go to sensory overload, what leads me to melt down, what leads me to shut down and burn out, what makes me stim when I'm happy, what is my stim, how can I advocate for myself in certain situations, especially when I am going through sensory overload and when something becomes harder. Like, what ways can I help myself, and how am I going to effectively help me be who I want to be the person I've always wanted to be, you know, if that makes sense, and basically take care of myself and knows what leads me to go to those certain situations like sensory overload, and how can I help myself in those situations. So for example, loud noises, headphones in, don't have to listen to it, can listen to something that helps me calm down more. You kind of have to teach yourself, or you have to learn about yourself in so many different ways. Like, I think even like last year, I kind of learned that autistic burnout is something completely different and so much more intense than neurotypical burnout, or even like my burnout. Again, like last year, I was sucked the life out of, and it was crazy. And then on top of that, you also learn that, hey, I might not be into opposite sex, I might be into same sex, I might even be into both. And especially for me, the process of trying to figure out my sexuality, well, I don't think it was long, I just think it was quite slow. So it took like, how many, like 3 years to kind of like figure it out before I was like, yeah, definitely. Like, I know so many people now are still questioning, which by the way, go you. If you're questioning, we love you. It's even now I'm still trying to figure out what I like romantically and sexually, and kind of being open with myself about that, because there's so much like unlearning and relearning you kind of have to do as both. And I feel like it's like double the work, and it's very intense. Now, do I love it? Like, am I proud of my identity, and will I continue to scream it at the top of my lungs because I know about myself and I am so proud of myself? Oh, hell yeah. Does it mean I still struggle with my identity sometimes? Oh, hell yeah. I feel like that's completely normal. Like, there are moments where that I become extremely paranoid because of the thief of joy, which is comparison. And because you compare yourself, not only like neurotypical queer people, but you compare yourself to other autistics, and then you compare yourself, like, it's just a mess. It's like this feeling of like you're not enough of every identity, especially if you're in a bad state of mind. It can be exhausting because for example, if you're a queer person, or particularly if you're a gay guy like me, one of the main things about gay culture is like clubbing and going out and like woo, and like I've never done that, so I'm like, oh my god, I'm not gay enough, or nor have I experienced many sexual situations, so it's like, oh my god, I'm not gay enough for that. And then in the other sense, it's like I feel like I'm not autistic enough because I don't have stuff like stim toys, and because it's like I don't know everything about my identity and I'm still trying to learn about my autistic identity. Then it's like you then compare yourself to other neurotypicals, because it's like at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I can't necessarily always spend time with people, I need time alone. And it's like it is this constant, like, I want to say like battle sometimes with comparison, and honestly it's quite exhausting. And that's why it's like sometimes you just have to remind yourself that like you are a unique individual member of each community, and you have a unique mind regardless on anything else. And it's just a reminder, I guess. It's all about a game of comparison. You just have to learn about what you feel like is best for you. So it's a lot of learning and unlearning and relearning. Basically, it feels like you're in a permanent school. Yeah, I feel like that's really something that I've learned. I don't know if other autistics have felt. And something else that I've definitely had to like learn and like relearn, or kind of had to tell myself, is about, if we're gonna get into it, about like sexuality, like the actual art of sexuality. Not just like, oh, I'm into boys or I'm into girls, but like what you enjoy sexually. Because it's kind of weird, but autistic people are often perceived as childlike, which is so frustrating. I think it's infantilization, which is to treat someone as a child in a way that denies their maturity and age or experience. So this is something that a lot of autistic people go through, including myself. I think also internally kind of go through that as well. There's a lot of internal stuff you kind of have to unteach yourself, and one of them for me was enjoying sexual. I'm still a virgin and I'm not ready for that until I go with someone I trust. I think a lot of autistic people get infantilized and get treated like they're childlike because a lot of neurotypical people think of us as almost children. Like the way we act and the way we do stuff and the way we react to things, it's like, oh my god, it's like a child. And it's like, no. And that is because so many neurotypical people think of autism as only something that happens in the childhood, or very much related to children, because that's kind of where autism has been shown a lot of. So when we do get older and we turn into adults and we say that we're autistic, a lot of neurotypicals still treat us like children because they have that connotation that autism is to do with children, when actually it isn't, which is frustrating and annoying, because we are actually adults and we do enjoy adult things like drinking or going out dancing or going to a club or having sex, because every autistic person is different and goes through different situations. So it's just like, you know, annoying. And you kind of even do it yourself. Like even for me, I don't know if this was either like me just being like, no, I'm like pushing something that I'm kind of not, or something that I'm like, oh, this is the infantilization, but I used to kind of be like denial about like giving myself a good time, let's just say that. And I used to be like, no, like, oh my god, it's terrible. And now as I've got older, I'm like it's normal, and also it's something really healthy to do, and it's something that honestly teaches you a lot about what you like sexually, what do you not like sexually, and it feels good also, like the whole like kissing and making out, like I find it fun. I'm not kidding to you. There was like a period during lockdown where I was telling my sister like, I just want to go on a date and I just want to be kissed by someone. I guess things haven't changed because I still want exactly the same thing. I feel like it's this idea of like, it's almost like you shouldn't enjoy it because you're autistic, and it's like those two things don't equal each other. Like, yes, there are autistics that are asexual, and if you are asexual or aromantic or anywhere in the LGBTQ community, you are amazing and you are loved and you are valid. But for me, it's something that you really have to unteach yourself, because in the world you just should. And even when I was going out with the guy, I was just like, oh, I want to take stuff slower. Like, and he said one of the things was like, oh, is it because of your autism that you want to take it slow? And at first I was like, oh, maybe because of like, you know, like touch. A lot of autistic people don't like touch and don't like to be touched. But for me, that's never really been a problem. Like the idea of like touch, it's kind of like unteaching yourself that, and it's kind of like making sure that you know that you are sexy and making sure you find ways to make sure that you feel sexy. So for me, me, one of them is just being in my underwear and dancing in my room with all my neon lights on, and that makes me feel really like powerful and sexy. And finding those little ways for me to feel that kind of way and to feel kind of like accepted within myself and my own sexuality in that sort of sense is really good, and I really enjoy it. So if that made any sense, if you got what I was talking about, that's definitely one thing that I wanted to just kind of say. And I was gonna say another thing is oftentimes with the whole like gay side, again, it's that kind of like paranoia a little bit about like, oh, are they gonna accept me because of my autism, or are they not going to, and all this kind of stuff, and kind of almost being seen as both. A lot of moments, a lot of things are quite, not fully, but can be quite inaccessible for some people. So for example, like pride parades now. Pride parades. 2018 was a moment, okay? 2019 Pride was a mess, and it was because it was megally crowded. There was so much going on, so many people close. For a lot of autistics, they kind of hate that. They don't enjoy it. And a lot of the situations to meet other gay people are very much like crowded situations, like gay clubs and gay bars, and they are very much like loud music, loads of people close together, and just kind of like no personal space, sensory overload, like the floor is sticky. Now again, I've never been to a gay club, so am I right? But for a lot of autistic people, kind of including me sometimes, I don't want to be in that situation to meet other gay people. Like that's not what I kind of want, and for even a lot of queer people, that's not what they even want either, because it's like those situations are so like a bot and very overwhelming and very much like hard to deal with, and can be also quite exhausting. I feel like we have to be honest on like masking. If you know anything about masking, in those situations, like it can be quite hard to find other queer autistics, and I feel like that sense, it makes it very hard to like find other people. That's quite like a weird situation, I'd say, to go through. But I think the solution, or my solution at least for that, if you struggle with that, is honestly social media. Looking at stuff that's specifically catered towards LGBT+ members, like different things like events, like Eventbrite could have one that'd be quite fun, you know? Or going to like bars or thingies, strategically planning it, like going at like specific times, like going either really early, so like when it opens, and then when it gets too much, like leave, which is something I would personally do. And then like see how you feel as a night, because you're gonna be one of the first ones in, so you hopefully will get used to the environment, and then you might want to stay. But if it's too much, you can always leave, you know? Like there's always that option. Social media honestly has been such a interesting place. I've actually ended up making a queer autistic friend on there. Abby, if you're watching this, hey. It's really hard, again, to get any decent representation for either. And yet alone to find both is like freaking mission impossible. Oh my god, it's so difficult. That's why I think social media honestly has helped me so much kind of get to know myself and my identity, who I am as a person. I don't think people realize the impact of social media on people. Yes, I do realize the negative impact, let's just use your mental health, your anxiety and whatever, but also this other sense of like community and connection, because again, for a lot of LGBTQ+ community, you just feel like you don't know who's around you, and particularly if you're growing up in a very small-minded school, it's very hard to find yourself and to feel accepted within yourself, and you often feel lost and confused and feels like you shouldn't really be part of that community. So again, I feel like it's so important to make sure that you do follow people who are you, from the LGBTQS community and from the autistic community, because I feel like you deserve to feel part of both, and you deserve to feel seen in both. So why wouldn't you? And if you can find one that is both autistic and queer, like me, then that's even better. Like embrace it and enjoy it. It's gonna make you feel whole and seen and fulfilled. And it also just makes you feel loved in a way. I know that sounds really weird. Even if you don't interact with that person, you feel love towards yourself because you know there's other people out there. You can feel immensely lonely and isolated within feeling both gay and autistic. And it can feel like you're utterly alone and that no one's really on your side and no one really understands you, and you're trying to go through this world by yourself and you just don't know what to do. And even if people have different life experiences to you, you can really all help out each other and build this like group and this sense of love and community. But this is very much a me thing, as in like this is something that I'm interested in, so this is my bias. But one of the main things about gay culture is that they have this big investment into pop culture and a lot of like strong, confident women. And I realized like that a lot of my special interests kind of coincide with the LGBTQ+ community, especially stuff like albums and music and film. Like, it's just interesting because I feel like I really enjoy those topics, and those topics are what I'm extremely passionate about, and though that passion is because of my special interest in those topics. So I guess that's a good thing because then both have come together and kind of been beneficial. I'm able to make videos on films and music and fashion, which are things that's very popular within the queer community, but they are my special interest because of my autism. Now that's truly the best of the both worlds. I feel like that's kind of it. I really hope you did enjoy this, and I just hope you had a chill time. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and comment down below if you want more, like a Q&A on this. This would be genius as a Q&A, and I shall see you guys next week with another new video. Bye everyone!